All right, I'm a little bit late with this video, but let's get started. Hi everybody, welcome to why the DPS passive is necessary and needs to stay at 20% for it to be effective. So in this video, I'll be talking about how in the past, like a few seasons actually, and a bunch of patches here and there, the overall concept of sustainability and tanking abilities has seen a buff over time. It's just, let's not deny it, like it has. Like we've seen from the buffs that 𝐓𝐈𝐈 has gotten, the raw numbers on Ana's healing nade going up, a few patches back, 𝐒𝐒𝐂𝐈𝐶, if it's removing an anti-effect or, well, any status debuff, it is going to do like over 100 plus healing, burst healing as well. So when you take that and then you take the fact that the HP pools have now gotten bigger, there's more armor value, there's more there's better ways to balance out how, let's say if you're playing a character like Reinhardt, how you can use your shield and then tank some damage with, well, face tank some damage and then tank some damage with the shield and just keep shield dancing this way, and the same formula kind of repeats onto other characters. There's also characters like Orisa and Roadhog and Mauga who, I'm not going to lie, their particular tanking abilities or sustainability abilities, whatever you want to call it, it just feels like a DPS passive is like legitimately never applied to them. And especially when it was at 15%, the tanks genuinely did feel unkillable. And while we did get a pretty massive patch that's coming to the game that will somewhat rework the tank passive, I think, at least for now, I'm only going to talk about it from the current context POV, is that we truly need the DPS healing passive to stay at 20%. And then we need to look at the supports that are not performing and start changing some things up in order to make those supports feel good. One of the supports that feels absolutely terrible to play, in fact, I'll even make an argument right now that this character is by far the worst character in the game, perhaps even worse than Reaper, and that character is Mercy. Yes, I know a lot of my Mercy players out there, they are going to be feeling the pain on this one. I also play some Mercy here and there every now and then when I'm chilling and playing with my friends and we want to do some silly shenanigans. I'm definitely beginning to feel like, like when I play a lot of other characters, the DPS passive, it doesn't feel that bad. It's like if you can balance using corners and using your tanking abilities or just being smart with your overall playstyle, you can actually still play the game and it will feel relatively the same, but there'll be like instances where people that are getting too greedy, they can actually be punished, right? So it certainly helps with that. But when it comes to Mercy, one of the biggest pain points with her right now is that she's a single target healer who literally cannot do anything else. The DPS passive being at 20% hurts her quite a bit. So she's one of the, I have a video coming up on her very soon where I will talk about perhaps some ways to change her up, buff her, nothing too over the top, just enough to where she can at least be like a good pick and not an absolute cosmetic joke. Because I'm not going to lie, guys, try out Mercy, be a little bit more fair, clear out your biases. The hero feels absolutely garbage to play and no hero should feel that bad. If we can, make these like insanely groundbreaking changes for tank, we can allow the DPS power to come back through the DPS passive, then certainly some characters like Mercy and, well, Reaper is another one, we can give them some help. Now, moving on to another character like Reaper, he's also somebody that needs a lot of help, and the DPS passive helps him very, very little. It doesn't help him as much as it should. But again, like the Reaper video is going to come in a little bit too. We know that Reaper and Cassidy are most likely the candidates for getting DPS reworks, but we will see. So again, circling back over to the 20% heal passive, 20% damage. Oh my god, guys, my brain, I just woke up, but I'm trying to make this video. Excuse me. The DPS passive that reduces healing by 20%. The reason it was needed was the healing numbers has 100% gotten out of control. And there was one thing that, I'm not sure if it was Alec Dawson or somebody else on the balance team, that said that players clearly don't like it when we nerf things, right? And look, I'm going to be realistic here, right? Out of all the communities, the support players are the most sensitive ones. If you change up anything on a support, these people will write you an entire like book on Twitter on why this was the worst thing you've ever done and that you deserve to be burnt alive and sent straight to hell. And then, Satan should carve out your intestines and wrap it around your throat and choke you with your own intestines just because you decided to nerf a support hero. So I'm not going to lie, I kind of side with them on this one. That, yeah, it is what it is. But regardless, the point here is that this was also a clever way to give some power to the DPS role without actually fully destroying the support role. Now, of course, there's certain supports that need help. For example, I did a video on Ana where I said that, Ana could definitely use the help. And I also spoke about the fact that, just now that Mercy needs some help. And, we had a detailed video on Ana. And it was a pretty good video. Again, if you guys haven't checked it out, it's a few videos back. Just go to my channel and check it out. And again, because healing was getting out of control, things like healing amplification that Ana can do, that Bap can do through his matrix, Kiriko and Moira having generally like high AoE, Bap as well has high AoE healing. Sorry, Kiriko doesn't have high AoE healing, but Kiriko does have high healing just in general. Lifeweaver saw pretty powerful buffs. I actually still think Lifeweaver is really not that bad right now. He's a little bit more situational in the current patch, but definitely not a bad, like not Mercy levels of cosmetic, that's for sure, right? At least in my opinion. Lucio is also pretty good. So what happens as a result of the passive staying at 20% is, it incentivizes support players to perhaps just not tunnel vision the idea of heal botting, but expand their playstyle and help do something else. But the team that I've been playing with, that I've been scrimming with lately, even on the 15% heal reduction patch, I've been talking to them about some things. So I'm just like, let's try to end our fights as quickly as possible and not draw them out, because that's kind of the nature of the game right now. Is the longer you drag out a fight, the more it just comes down to whose tank is, the superior one and who's countering who, and which tank can blow up the other tank the fastest. So instead of that, we try to accelerate the gameplay styles and just, like have everybody do their best to go in and apply damage, apply pressure, follow up on follow up on each other's shots. Excuse me again, I am a little bit all over the place, but I'm very excited. So you guys can see what happens when I get like this. It's a little bit embarrassing, but excuse me for that. So that's the thing, it allows supports to kind of do a little bit more. Now like supports that are very good, are characters like Lucio, obviously Moira, Zenyatta, Iliari, Kiriko, because they can kind of like, they have seamless and easy transitions between their ability to heal and do damage. Now a character like Mercy, and Lifeweaver, they're in a little bit of trouble when it comes to this type of gameplay style, that they're very limited by options. Now again, Mercy's problems are, well, she has a lot of problems that, again, I'll discuss in the Mercy video, and I really want to do it justice, so it's most likely going to come out tomorrow, hopefully. And, I don't want to get witch hunted by the Mercy Mafia, man. You know how those guys are. But regardless, I'm on their side. I'm a fair guy. Like, when a character needs help, I do talk about it. And I don't particularly, have any bias. Like, I think there's a DPS that needs help, which is Reaper. I think, on the tank side of things, I actually think Ramatra is very awkward. Like, we're in a world right now where I would argue that Ryan is actually pretty strong compared to Ramatra, and Ram actually might need some help. This new HP pool environment, he's kind of weird in it. So all that aside, again, the whole point of the DPS passive is to allow for more proactivity, because the game was in a situation where there was so much healing, so much powerful tanking abilities. I mean, look at Rodog and Mauga, how they could stay alive, or just Orisa. I'm sure, like, if you don't understand everything that I've talked about, just apply the concept of Orisa and how she can stay alive through abilities, and then the high healing that goes on behind her. Yeah, you kind of need the DPS passive to start keeping these things in check. Now, again, the new tank passive that's coming in kind of contradicts the current DPS passive, and I'm really concerned about it. But again, we're going to wait, feel that out, and then I will give my comment on it, right? So for now, I'm not going to comment too much on the upcoming tank passive changes. I will get out the regular videos as scheduled, and, we'll come back to it. But like I said, guys, so, the DPS passive really helps encourage proactivity. And honestly, that's when Overwatch has always been at its best. When in 2016 and the October 2020 patch, when Overwatch was at some of its all-time highest player bases and most excitements, people love the fact that you could proactively make plays and be rewarded for it. So the DPS passive helps achieve that. Now, there's been some people saying things like, well, it shouldn't just be DPS, tank should have it or support should have it. I'm sorry, that's a little bit silly, guys. Come on now. That's a little bit silly. And if anything, if it ever went to the tank or support passive, they would, like, tanks and supports would be way too OP with something like this, right? So let's just keep it in the DPS role, because it's a little bit better to have. And again, I still stand by the stance that perhaps this is something that should have triggered with a damage threshold, because I do agree that Tracer, Reaper, or just like any DPS that tickles you across the map can immediately trigger the healing passive, which is a little bit silly. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it is a little bit silly. So it would have been nice, like, if you did like over 100 damage or over 50 damage, only then would the DPS passive trigger. I think this would be a pretty fair value to experiment with, like maybe 50, 75, and then you would go from there. So, again, the threshold might have helped out. But yeah, so overall, the reason the heal reduction passive is very good is because it encourages more proactivity and less reactivity. And yes, we still have some broken support abilities that force us to play the game more reactively, and until Blizzard reworks those things, there's not much we can do about it. But the heal reduction passive is good for the game, and the supports that are a little bit too impacted by it, perhaps Ana and Mercy in particular, both of them need to be re-looked at and definitely need help. Again, already did the Ana video, so if you want to check that out, check it out. But the Mercy video is 100% coming tomorrow. I really want to do this hero justice. I know how passionate her fan base can be, so I'm gonna try my best to, you know, really like take all the pain points and be fair about it. Like, look, Mercy players, like if you're watching this video, you're a Mercy player, like I'm not gonna be biased. I understand how power distribution in a kit can work. If you want more power in healing and damage boosting, like in the staff, you might have to sacrifice some of the movement. Or if you want the movement to be good, well, you're gonna have to accept the kit the way it is. Or my personal opinion is that we should remove res and give her something that'll help. Now, I have a great idea that I want to share in my next video. So again, keep an eye out for this Mercy video. I spent a lot of time writing a script for it. I'm gonna, like, you know, also wing it like I always do, because I believe that's a part of my charm. But that's about it, everybody. Like, I just wanted to share my thoughts on why I believe that, yeah, we should keep the damage passive around at 20%. Also, one more thing to note, that in Season 9, when the damage passive did come out, if I'm not mistaken, right, we were in the 200 HP era, so it's not that bad with 250 HP. Again, I could be wrong here. Like, I'm a little bit all over the place because, like I said, guys, I just woke up, just had the coffee, just running on, you know, full steam ahead. But we might do a live stream tonight, so if you guys want to drop by and, you know, in fact, I think by the time this video goes live, I will be live streaming. So if you guys want to drop by for a little bit, say hello, enjoy some streams with me, feel free to drop by. You know, we've been doing, like, a lot of fun stuff on stream too. So with that being said, everybody, if you want to support the channel for free, please do so by hitting like and subscribe. I'm so close to 5,000 subscribers. If you can help me reach there, I would greatly appreciate it. And most importantly, if you want to support the channel for financially, all you have to do is use Super Chat. With that said, I will see you in tomorrow's Mercy video.